A team of Navy SEALs, including Senior Chief Petty Officer John Kelly, infiltrate a building of armed Syrians and take them out. They make their way to a building where they meet up with CIA agent Ritter. Their mission from the CIA is to rescue an agent being held by Syrian government forces in a nearby building, though Ritter claims to have no exact number of combatants they will face. The SEAL team infiltrate the building and make quick work of the armed men. But when Kelly checks the bodies, he realizes they are ex-Russian military. As the team prepare to move out, they are hit with an RPG. One of the SEALs is killed in the explosion, and Lieutenant Greer has fallen a floor below and is coming under gunfire. Despite this, Ritter moves out with his CIA agents. Kelly refuses to leave Greer behind, so he tells the SEALs to remove their dead colleague before jumping down to cover Greer from the attacking men. There they realize that Ritter has lied to them, and they are actually inside a Russian arms depot. After killing their attackers, the two start moving out, dropping any stray Russians left. The SEALs make it back to the chopper and demand an answer from Ritter, but he plays oblivious, angering Kelly until Greer orders him to stand down. Ritter then calls in an airstrike to finish off the arms depot. 3 months later, Kelly is with his pregnant wife Pam at a family get-together. We learn that Kelly is looking to retire from the military and is considering a job with private security. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, one of his SEAL teammates goes to take out the trash when he is hit and killed by a speeding van. In Atlanta, another teammate is stuck in traffic behind the same van when men open fire on him, killing him on the spot. Kelly and Pam soon return home and are preparing for bed. Kelly takes some time to talk to his unborn daughter, as he cannot wait for her to arrive so she can be a daddy's girl. He tries getting some before bed, but Pam is in no condition to get me demonetized. While she gets some sleep, Kelly heads downstairs where he is listening to music through headphones. Outside, shadowy figures cut the power to their home, but Kelly doesn't realize this until his laptop's battery dies and he tries plugging it in. He then hears discreet footsteps moving above him and grabs his gun to check it out. Meanwhile, the masked men get to the bedroom and open fire on the bed, and one man kills his colleague as per their plan. Kelly encounters the men and drops 2 of them swiftly. He and the third man end up trading bullets, and Kelly gets hit in the exchange. Both men fall, and the Russian tries shooting Kelly, but is out of bullets, so he drags himself out of the house. Kelly crawls to the bedroom calling for Pam. But it is no use as Pam is dead, and he breaks down in tears before passing out. We then see him being rushed to a hospital. Meanwhile, at the NSA office, the CIA and military go over the attack on the SEALs, but Ritter implies that they may have been involved in other activities that may have cost their lives. Greer confronts him afterwards for his statement about her SEALs, but he still refuses to give her any information. Kelly miraculously survives and soon opens his eyes to see Greer standing beside him. He asks about his unborn daughter, but learns neither of them made it. The military have no idea who was behind the attack, but Kelly recalls they were pros and reveals that the man in the bedroom was already dead when he got there. One of them got away, but all Kelly wants right now is a name to track them down. Greer understands, but couldn't give him a name even if she had one. Later, Greer is in her office when she is visited by the Secretary of Defense Thomas Clay. He used to work with her uncle, who has spoken very highly of Greer and her judgment, which is why he wants to speak with her privately and directly. He is interested in John Kelly, but wants to know how much he can be trusted. Kelly soon begins his recovery process. Greer is then called into a meeting with Clay and Ritter, who isn't happy with Greer's presence in his briefing, but Clay ignores him and tells Greer to sit. It turns out that the SEALs had killed Yuri Zelin, son of the head of the FSB, at the depot, and the attack on the SEALs was retaliation. All the men found in Kelly's home were ex-FSB operatives, and Greer reveals that one of the men got away from the home. Ritter claims it's not important, and that the CIA has determined the case closed as the director thinks the score has been settled. Clay admits to Greer that his hands are tied based on the director's recommendations. Greer returns to base where she calls Kelly aside. She now understands how he felt about Ritter, explaining that the CIA know they were attacked by Russians, but refused to pursue the case in the name of national security. Kelly is devastated hearing this, but Greer has a plan. She shows him the files on the Russians she got from Clay. The man that got away is unknown, but the three found all had their passports issued by ex-FSB Andrei Vasiliev. Kelly suspects that he knows the fourth man, but learns that Andrei is untouchable. Kelly returns to his home, the yellow tapes reminding him of the grim incident. Inside, he breaks down once more. His rage getting the best of him. Downstairs in the cellar, he removes a stash of guns and cash from the water heater. He then drinks and pours liquor all over himself before staggering over to the Russian embassy acting drunk. While he tussles with the guards at the front, he notices Andrei leaving in a convoy. He starts following the convoy in a truck, then calls 911 reporting that someone in the car pointed a gun at him.
Hurry up, I'm really scared.
Not long after, Andrei's lead car gets pulled over by cops, and this gives Kelly the opening to ram into Andrei's car. Kelly then pours gasoline all over the car before setting it on fire. He then enters the burning car, shooting the driver on the way in. He demands to know who killed his wife, shooting Andrei in the leg when he tries to escape. Andrei tells him that he is a dead man, but Kelly just shoots him in the chest. Andrei then gives up the name Viktor Rykov before Kelly finishes him off and surrenders to the cops outside. At the Pentagon, Ritter is trying to figure out how intel tying Russians to the SEAL deaths got leaked and suspects Greer. He is concerned how the attack on Andrei will appear to Moscow, but Clay thinks Kelly's actions shook a tree neither of them have been able to, and wants to see who falls out. Kelly is sent to prison for his actions. Greer thinks he is in a lot of trouble for what he did, but Kelly regrets nothing. He played his part in serving and protecting his country, but when the time came, his country turned their back on him. Now that he has lost everything, he plans to show these kings what a pawn can do. He knows Clay gave the intel to Greer, and he has intel he wants sent back to him. Greer wants to know, but Kelly only plans to give it over if Clay gets him out of prison, as he is surrounded by Russian mobsters. He is then led back to his cell, suspicious of everyone, even the guards. He is back in his cell when a guard orders him to stand and face the wall as he is going on a walk, but Kelly refuses to comply unless he knows where he is going. The guard leaves, but Kelly knows trouble is coming, so he splashes water on himself and floods the cell. Soon he hears footsteps and a team of guards come bursting into his room, but Kelly beats them all down with his skills. He then threatens to break one of the guards' necks unless they close the door and leave him alone. Outside, another team of guards prepare to breach the room, but they are stopped by U.S. Marshals who hand Kelly a cell phone. It's Greer, who tells him to follow the Marshals who will lead him out of there. He is led to a motorcade and driven to a warehouse being used as a base of operations for the CIA. Inside a small room are Clay, Ritter, Greer, and the CIA Director Sarah Dillard. He mentions the name Viktor Rykov, but Director Dillard wonders how he knows that name. Clay insists that Kelly be enlightened, so Ritter reveals that Viktor is a dangerous Russian Special Forces operative who was planning to launch strategic attacks on U.S. soil until he was neutralized. Ritter wants to prove Kelly wrong and presents a number of pictures, but Kelly picks out Viktor right away. Everyone in the room looks shocked, and Ritter finally talks, stating that Viktor needs to be found and brought in. Kelly wants to be on the team, but Clay denies this and places Greer in charge of the mission. Kelly thinks his actions have proved he is willing to go the extra mile, and they need someone with his motivations to get the job done. To his surprise, Greer disagrees with him, as she doesn't think Kelly is in the right state of mind, but Clay changes his mind, thinking Kelly is perfectly suited. Kelly joins up with the SEAL team and Ritter in Germany, where they will be jumping from a modified cargo plane into Russia. Ritter then reminds them they cannot leave a trace of U.S. presence behind, before leaving to take his own transport into Russia. During the flight, John playfully confronts Greer for not backing him, but she knows what's going through his head. Kelly cannot get Andrei's words about death following him around out of his head, as if he had not been on the Syria mission, then his family would still be alive, but very soon he plans to set everything right. Greer reminds him their mission is an extraction and wants his word, but he is done making promises he cannot keep. Soon it's time for the jump, and the SEALs gear up and are standing ready, but a Russian jet passes overhead warning the flight to divert to a nearby airfield, where they will be considered hostile and shot down. The SEALs try to stay low to avoid being seen, but suddenly the jet fires a missile which hits one of the plane engines, sending them falling toward the ocean. Kelly barely manages to strap himself into a seat before the plane hits the water hard. The SEALs have survived the impact and are exiting the plane, but Kelly insists on saving their gear as the mission is dead without it. The plane twists and begins to take in water by the second, and Kelly starts heading to the back of the plane when the tail breaks and sinks. Kelly still dives in, using the seats to propel himself forward and catching oxygen from the small patches left. He finally gets to the gear and ties a float to the bag to send it to the surface, but he cannot find a way out and is quickly running out of air. He finally finds a way out and almost passes out on his way to the surface. His actions, though, have saved the Zodiac, an inflatable boat, and they soon get it ready and make their way to land. They soon get to shore, and Kelly sinks the boat before they get to the safe house. There the others are thinking about extraction, but Kelly thinks they have the element of surprise now that everyone thinks they're dead. Kelly suspects that Ritter may not be as clean as he appears, as he is behind everything bad happening so far and the only one who didn't want to fly with them. Greer thinks he might be reaching, but Kelly plans to get answers. Ritter and his team are watching reports of the shot-down plane when Kelly and the SEALs ambush them. They have a suitcase of cash with them and demand to know what the real mission is. Ritter tries to play it off, but Kelly is having none of it and presses Ritter at gunpoint. Ritter explains that he thought the SEALs were dead and the money was to pay some Russian moles to get Victor instead. He can get Kelly to Victor, but Kelly fires a shot over his head as he isn't playing around. Ritter swears he didn't sell them out, so Kelly eventually releases him.
You're out of your goddamn mind!
Everyone is then moved into Russia in a blacked-out van and gets to the apartment with a view into Victor's apartment. Kelly takes aim at him, reassuring a concerned Greer that he is just looking. That night the team, armed to the teeth, infiltrate Victor's apartment. Kelly takes lead at the stairs, but suddenly locks the rest of the team behind a gate. He moves into the apartment, only to hear Victor call out his name. Kelly promises that he will say Pam's name before he dies, but Victor tells him he did not kill her, a decision did. He then reveals that he is actually CIA, and John being here was all planned. John finally comes upon Victor to see him wearing a bomb vest. Meanwhile, the rest of the team get to the apartment but wait outside. Victor tells Kelly they are both pawns to kings, and the mission has always been dying for the greater cause. Kelly asks him the cause, and Victor replies America before blowing himself up.
All we have to do is die.
The team recover, and Kelly suspects that they were lured there by Victor when a sniper hits one of them, sending them diving for cover. They manage to get the sniper's general location, but are being pinned down by the gunfire, unable to get to their injured man. Kelly grabs a piece of broken mirror nearby and uses it to pinpoint the sniper and lays down cover fire, and a second sniper reveals himself.
Second sniper!
But they manage to get to the injured SEAL. As they exit the room, another SEAL is shot in the leg and they get pinned down once more. As they contemplate how to take out the sniper and exit the building, they see cops arrive, but the sniper kills the cops. John suspects that they will be framed for their deaths, and now thinks the dead Russian in his house was on purpose. Now dead Americans will be found on Russian soil. Whoever is behind this planned the deaths of the SEALs, his wife's death, and this operation in order to start a war. They don't plan to die to start someone's war, so Kelly starts laying a charge on a wall to the neighboring apartment while the others keep the sniper at bay. Kelly blows a hole in the wall, and the team moves into the apartment where they notice the streets now crawling with cops. Kelly and Greer push on the hallway sniper. Greer gets to his apartment, but her gun jams and she is forced into a struggle. Kelly wants to help, but the hallway is crawling with residents, so he climbs on the outside of the building. Meanwhile, Greer is fighting for her life as the man gets his hands around her throat, but she manages to kill him just before Kelly gets there. Kelly goes back for the team, and they drag their injured to the lobby and take up positions as they are surrounded by cops. The man who got shot first isn't looking good, and he tearfully gives them a message to tell his family that he loves them, but dies before he can finish his message. Things are also not looking good for the team, who realize their time is coming to an end. The cops begin closing in on the building when Kelly comes up with a plan. He will lay down cover fire from the roof and distract the cops from their escape, and he will be considered a felon and not a soldier if he dies. Greer isn't fond of the plan but sees the resolve in his eyes, and they give each other a silent goodbye. Kelly gets to the roof and starts lobbing grenades into the street, taking care to target the cars and avoid killing any cops. The team uses this diversion to get to the van, and Kelly keeps up fire until they are clear. The cops get to the roof, and Kelly is gradually pushed into a corner. He is down to his pistol when a bullet rips through his shoulder. He is about to give up, but sees an opening and dives through a skylight. A cop rushes at him, but Kelly overpowers the man and chokes him out. He tosses some smoke grenades and tackles another cop pushing on him, barely managing to push the man over the staircase. Injured and out of breath, Kelly grabs a nearby gun in his bag before dragging himself down the stairs. He gets to the lobby crawling with SWAT, braving the bullets and firing back, dropping the cops. As they regroup, Kelly primes an explosive and tosses his bag, taking out the entire lobby. When the dust begins to settle, Kelly, disguised as Russian SWAT, walks out the building and steals a nearby ambulance. He barely manages to drive to the safe house, and Greer comes out to help him inside. The team then boards a boat that smuggles them out of Russia. At sea, Kelly feels defeated, as he realizes now that a pawn could never kill a king, and for all his actions, he is just going right back to prison. Ritter then surprisingly tells him to take the money that is below deck and disappear, and they will report that he died in Russia. With Kelly as a ghost, they may be able to get some answers. A few days later, Clay is having a meal inside a restaurant watching news reports about the incident. He then heads to the restroom to clean up when Kelly appears there with intel about the mission. He reveals that the CIA is running a secret operation to start war with Russia, and Clay suspects Director Dillard may be behind this. Kelly mentions Victor's bomb vest, and Clay reveals he knows about it, but this was actually left out of the reports. Kelly wonders how he would know about it, and suddenly grabs Clay around the neck and chokes him out. Clay wakes in a car bound with Kelly driving him on the highway. Kelly demands to know why his team, wife, and daughter had to get involved in his schemes, but Clay demands to be released. Kelly then points out they are heading to meet his daughter and kids, so he better start talking if he wants to spare them. Clay then reveals his plan. After World War II, the economy and the military power of the USA grew exponentially, and the singular enemy unified the people and gave them purpose. If he can give the USA an enemy to focus on, then America would stop fighting within itself and become unified and powerful once more. The problem is, Kelly just would not die. As he talks, Kelly puts on his seatbelt. Clay had no right to take everything away from him and insists that he will say Pam's name before he dies. Kelly then drives the car into the river. As the water floods in, Clay calls out Pam's name thinking it will save him, but Kelly just sits beside him holding his breath and watching Clay drown. The car hits the riverbed, but Kelly takes a second to clear his mind, considering ending things right there. As he loses air, he has a vision of Pam. He tells her he misses her and Pam knows, tells him she is with him now. We then see the funeral service for Kelly and Pam taking place. Greer collects his flag and heads to her car where she hears reports of Secretary Clay's death. Kelly is actually sitting in her back seat, and it's revealed that he was rescued from the car where he also collected a recording device with Clay's conversation. Ritter plays the conversation for a top official, requesting a favor. Kelly is cleared of all charges, and Greer hands him his new identity thanks to the CIA. He plans to disappear, and Greer tells him to not be a stranger before they part ways. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these two videos popping up right here, so check them out next.